Here are my thoughts on why a mother would be a far better option than any man for any leadership position. One, we've had to deal with being up every couple of hours, sometimes for an entire year on end, especially when you are breastfeeding a baby. I cannot tell you how great it is now that my son is no longer breastfeeding that I am able to sleep a whole night through. But sometimes I am still woken up in the middle of the night because maybe the animals woke him up. I have cats and they do that. Sometimes he had a bad dream. He is at that age where that's starting to happen. And I have to go and I have to stay calm and comfort him and get him back to sleep without losing my cool, without being, harsh. I just go in, I handle my business, and I go back to bed. Two, we know how to make a budget work. Every time I hear about this country and the politicians not being able to make a budget work, mostly because of the GOP, which are not fiscally responsible anymore at all, as we have seen, I'm thinking, how? How? How are you not able to make billions of dollars function properly in this country? Well, of course, because you're buying off your buddies and you want to make sure that you get your kickbacks from said buddies when it comes to the policies you pass. But maybe if you stop doing that, if you stopped funding your buddies' bar tabs, their their trips, their companies that really don't need any assistance because they're fleecing the Americans anyway because of policies that were gutted, we would actually have money for food. Ever think about that? We know how to be diplomatic under stress. That is something I cannot tell you has become an extremely important part of my life. I have two children. One is a teenager, one is a baby. During my youngest son's first bit of existence, I had to be extremely kind to my oldest child because he had just become a brother. He was going through school. We were going through a really rough time. I was sleep deprived and hungry while also dealing with a terrible relationship. And you want to know something? That made me say sorry a lot too. I'm not so prideful that I will not admit my faults to somebody I love. And supposedly, Republicans love this country. So why aren't we hearing sorry from them? Why aren't we getting apologies from these people who claim to actually give a crap about their country if they're so patriotic? Another reason is we know how to multitask better than anybody else on the planet. One of the reasons I really liked Obama was because Michelle was honest about his involvement with his children while also, working hard as a lawyer and also doing his activism work. That is somebody who knows how to multitask on a grander scale. Mothers know how to microtask all the time, or multitask all the time. Sometimes we're a little sleep deprived and our brain says something funky. Considering this current president we have, I don't really think people would pay that much of attention, would they? Oh, they would, because we're women. And everything a woman does is always put under a microscope. However, it's never actually analyzed as anything that's, useful to society, like making all the people. Another reason is because, oh, sorry. Another thing that we are really good at is understanding how our words impact those who we care about the most. I understand that my words have the ability to either completely build up or completely break down my children, even my youngest one, because he's at that age where he's learning tone. The amount of times I've seen the words used by Republican lawmakers, and a lot of Democratic lawmakers too, with complete disregard for the well-being of us as a country is really disturbing to me. Another reason a mother would be a better option than any of these assholes who are currently sitting in office is because we actually care about our future and our children's futures and our future grandchildren's futures. We care about how our families are going to be supported because we're currently struggling through it. I am now a single mother because of horrific abuse that I existed through. And policies that are put forward that benefit men over victims really do not bode well for the children in that situation. And I'm starting to realize that is 100% by design. The people who harm us the most do not face accountability. Just look at what's going on with the Epstein files. Look at what's going on with corporations who just pay fines for completely decimating our ecological resources that cannot be fixed. I mean, does anybody even remember the East Palestine train wreck that completely poisoned a town? The data centers that are popping up left and right, and it's like nobody wants this who lives in those areas. Nobody. So why are they going forward? I'm telling you, we need way more moms in office than we need old men who are currently on their way to the retirement home. I am sick and tired of people who are currently invested in our futures being overridden by people who just want to line their pocketbooks for the last 5 to 15 years that they're alive on this planet. When we have children who have their entire lives that have to live with the consequences of these entirely shitty policies. So, yeah. That's why I think moms should actually run the world, because we would actually do it right.